Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well. The Oilers won. That's always uh, a moment when I feel like I'm doing well. It makes me a little happier than I normally am. Not normally morose, but I'm usually pretty happy. But I'm super happy when they win a
Beat,
game, especially against the Habs.
beat the Habs, beat the Habs. It's always
Oh, and
sweet,
you were
sweet
there
to
when all
beat the
those
Habs. I
Habs
was there.
fans.
Yeah, there was a lot of Habs fans there tonight. I think more Leaf fans last week, but not by a lot. There was certainly a lot of red tricolor, bleu blanc et rouge Habs fans tonight, and about 1% of them wear the white sweaters, and the other 99% wear the tricolor.
It's a pretty
It's a beautiful uniform,
gorgeous
and it's
hockey
it's it's
sweater.
iconic hockey sweater.
Other than Team Canada 72 sweater, the best hockey sweater ever. The Team Canada 72 sweater is very funky, like it's that half maple
It,
leaf.
it was
It
very
was
neat.
very aggressive 70s design, but man,
Actually, the 72 one was a full maple leaf at the bottom half of the sweater, and then they cut the leaf in half when they did the Canada Cup
well,
in
it's the top
76.
half of the leaf, like it's not the
Right, the
whole
top,
leaf.
yeah, right.
Okay,
So
the
it's,
top,
it is
that's what I
kind of
call
half a leaf, yeah.
it.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
they
the
cut
top.
that in half and
Yeah.
made it even more streamlined. But yeah, lots of Habs fans. I was surrounded by them. I was lucky enough to go to the game tonight. It's funny how it works. Uh, with social media, I've made a few friends on social media over the years, quite a few friends, and sometimes eventually you get to meet those people, and sometimes you never do. Tonight I met an old friend who had company seats to the game tonight. Lynn Mercereau, a very staunch Oilers fan, dating all the way back to the WHA, and she was exactly as I envisioned. And just we had a wonderful time at the game tonight. Just big time, both of us, big time Oilers fans, going way, way, way back to the '70s. And we had fun tonight, and the right team won just barely, 4-3.
And they are now one game above Real 500, Bruce. They have, what is it, 20? Is it 20 wins?
20 wins.
20 wins and 19 losses.
Hmm.
So that's playoff team. That's excellent. And
It's
huge
on
win
the
at the right
cusp.
time. And
Yeah,
the
they
Habs
had to win.
fans,
Hmm?
I used to be a Habs fan in the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a fantastic team, obviously.
Yeah.
But when I went to the games in the 80s, the Oilers games, I was kind of appalled at the behavior of Habs fans at Oilers games. I think of all the fans, like online, the Canucks fans are the worst, I'm saying. But in person at Oilers games, the Habs fans were just so loud and obnoxious. And I'm not going to
Oh,
make any friends saying that, but that's how I felt about them at the time. And I think I would be a little bit more accepting of it now, but at the time, it really got on my nerves.
I had more issues with Flames fans, to tell the truth. And the Habs fans, the Oilers had a nice habit of shutting them up because the Oilers usually beat the Habs in the early '80s, right? And we got in the league.
That was the
Uh,
sweetest playoff victory maybe in Oilers history. The
yeah,
first one,
yeah.
right? When they beat, what was it, a
First
best of
series win,
five?
best of five,
Yeah,
and they won 6-3 and 3-1 in the Montreal Forum, and then came home and thumped them 6-2 on a Wayne Gretzky hat trick in Game Three, and that was that. And it was just one of the most shocking upsets in NHL history, frankly. It was almost like what happened to Tampa Bay last year. Not quite because Montreal wasn't that dominant a team, but they did win the Vezina Trophy that year by 17 goals. Like they were a very, very sound defensive club, and Edmonton took them apart with speed and skill. It was just unforgettable.
it really was. It was the moment when you realize this is going to happen. This is going to
Hmm.
happen for the Oilers, and suddenly all
Yeah.
of those great young players.
Hmm.
There'd been Gretzky always, and then all of a sudden started to look a little bit like Gretzky. Like started to take a little longer with the puck, make a little bit better plays, attack like him. And yeah, fantastic. I just listened to Ken Dryden's chapter in his book on Scotty Bowman on the Oilers. So there
Oh yeah.
Bowman names the 83, 84 Oilers as one of the eight greatest teams of all time. And Dryden was quite effusive in his praise of the Oilers, and it actually kind of brought a tear to my
Yeah.
eye.
He retired. He retired just in time, Ken Dryden. I mean, we never saw him play because he packed it in after that fourth Cup win in 1979. Him
Yeah.
and Jacques Lemaire, and of course Scotty Bowman himself moved on to Buffalo after that. So the Habs team, even though they played the first game here ever 40 years ago this month, December of 1979, they were the defending four-time Stanley Cup champions, but they were down a couple of courts, and the Oilers took them out 5-3 in the very first meeting, and that was a sweet, sweet game too, especially for Dave Lumley, the
Yeah.
former Hab who scored twice.
It's interesting. They like, players would retire early, like Dryden and Lemaire. They were both, I think, in their early 30s, and
Yeah,
Nyrop
they
was
were young.
26
Yeah.
when he retired. And now the money is so fantastic. The money is just so overwhelmingly good. You don't really, I can't remember. Maybe that's happened, but you don't really see that guys retire. Now they're doing everything they can to earn that extra $5 to $10 million a year for players of that stature. But then it was really, really good money. But
Mhm.
it was like, four times the average guy's salary, not, whatever it is now, 50 to 100 times or what, I haven't worked out
Well,
the math.
Lemaire, didn't he go to Switzerland? Like he didn't fully
Yeah.
retire, but he just went to Europe and he kind of
Yeah.
kind of
He
kind of cashed in
semi-retired.
his chips and semi-retired and kept playing hockey in the Swiss league at less travel, fewer games, nicer scenery, less pressure.
Oh, that's for
Uh,
sure. And
you
just
know,
compare that to Montreal.
yeah.
But Bruce, this is our two good, excuse me, two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcasts on
hmm
tonight's fantastic 4-3 win over the hated Habs.
hmm
Um, what is your good thing?
Yeah. It's funny actually. I used to hate the Habs like with a passion, but I don't anymore. I don't
Yeah,
mind.
neither do I. I don't
But
really hate them.
they my good thing. Well, I gotta give credit where due to a couple of bottom sixers and Josh Archibald and Riley Shannon, who really rose to the occasion tonight with an outstanding game. Each scored a goal, which I mean, second of the year for Archibald, third of the year for Riley Shane. Here we are at the halfway point of the season, basically, and
Jeez.
the Oilers have been crying for those kind of contributions from the bottom six, where some nights a single goal will turn a loss into a tie, or two goals might turn a loss into a win. Well, that's what they got tonight, two goals, and they won by one. And those guys were very impressive. Like they control play. Uh, when Riley Shane was on the ice, the shot attempts were 14 for Edmonton, four for Montreal. Like the puck was in Montreal's end, and they were bringing it, and they were bringing it with gusto. And Archibald scored the 2-0 goal on a deflection, and it was off of extended pressure where Joachim Nygaard made two good plays. One
He
to
did.
one to establish the original possession, the original scoring chance, and then he made kind of a diving play to chip the puck free just when it looked like Montreal was going to clear it, and it went to Ethan Bear, and he made a nifty shot pass that Archibald tipped home. And then the game winner in the third period, just a few seconds after an apparent goal was waved off, because in fact it wasn't a goal, it hit the crossbar. Poor Ryan Nugent Hopkins still can't buy one. And it was still 3-3. And my friend Lynn said, "Don't worry, they're going to get one right away. They're going to get that one back." And boom, it was in the net. And it was a nifty 2-on-1 give and go with Sheahan and Archibald. Second night in a row, they've scored Sheahan on from Archibald and nobody else on a two-man effort, 2-on-1. Last night was short-handed, and the goals were different, but it was the same central characters, and just a huge goal that put the Oilers ahead, and just they were able to hang on from there in an intense but mainly scrappy uh, closeout of the game that didn't seem to feature a lot of great chances for Montreal, but many, many nervous moments for Oil fans.
Tons of nervous moments accentuated when Marcus Granlund missed the open net. What is it with Oilers and open nets? I wanted Bruce.
Koskinen missed the open net too, darn it.
Yeah,
What's he
Koskinen missed
doing? How in
that.
the hell
That would
did he
have been
miss that?
that
Wide
almost hit
open net, man.
it almost hit a groove and went in.
Well,
I
that's
really
St.
like
Louis.
Nygaard on that line, and I think he adds a lot that Jujhar Khaira doesn't add. I think that line is too slow when Khaira's out
Quicker.
there, and I've been saying that from the start, and I'm holding to it. And Nygaard drew two penalties. He, as you say, he was largely responsible for that first goal, that diving play to push the puck over to Bear. That was a hell of a pass from Bear, though.
Yep.
Nygaard, I think, has shown at this point he's not close to being ready to playing in the top six. I think that's a fair assessment at this point. He didn't do much with McDavid. He seemed nervous. He didn't make plays. He didn't contribute much. He seemed like a third wheel who was falling off the vehicle. And but on the checking line, it's a whole different line, it seems to me, when he's out there with him. It gives him a completely different look. Shane's big enough to handle the tough stuff down low, and he's smart enough defensively to get the job done around his net. And then you have these two guys, one of them flying around and really pesky but has skill, and then the other one is just totally ferocious. This was Archibald's best game of the year by far, I thought. He just kept getting better as the game went on. He was hitting, making plays. And Bruce, this is the first time, like, this looked like a third, like the kind of third line. Like, of course they're not going to score a goal every game, that line. But if each of those guys could get 10 goals this year, right? Like over the year.
Like last year they were 10 goal scorers or around there,
Yeah.
and they looked like 10 goal scorers the last little while. And then tonight, I mean, Archibald, he came into this game with 1 goal and 1 assist, and then he matched both of those numbers tonight. He doubled his season total. Now he's all the way up to 2 goals and 4 points.
Yeah, it's not going to take a lot for him to get to 20 points, right? Like, then that's kind of the goal, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20, 25 points, and hold your own defensively. So they generally have held their own defensively. Archibald got off to kind of a rocky start on the team, but he's since then has been pretty effective. Shane's effective down low. So, of course, there was a couple games when remember last year, Bruce, the identity line where they had a couple good games too.
Yeah,
Kyle Brodziak, Milan Lucic, and Zach Kassian. And there was
exactly speedsters.
If we're completely honest, there probably was 2, maybe even 3 games in a row. We're thinking, hey, maybe the Oilers, Hitchcock has found something here with the identity line, and it came to naught. So we are seeing a good little burst from this group, and now the next step is, the difference is they started out slow. All of those guys, they're getting better. Each of them, I think, is trending up right now and trending up as a unit. So keep that unit together and let's see how they do.
I've been referring to them as the limit the damage line because their main function has been to play tough minutes, start in their own zone a lot, play against some pretty tough opposition, and just try and hold it, because they've been not much of a threat to score. So just getting out of a game 0-0 is how they helped the team. Well, tonight they did much more than that. And good on them. They look good in the process. It was Josh Archibald, who also had 5 hits in this game, who made the final defensive play to clear the puck away. And that was the second time this week that Josh Archibald was the guy making the last defensive play to defend a 1-goal lead at the buzzer. So for what that's worth.
So my good thing, Bruce, is Koskinen. And I know that he wasn't called upon to be superb, and he did let in 3 goals tonight. Mm-hmm. Nonetheless, Bruce, he made the first big save early in the game. First grade A chance. Jeff Petrie comes in there, slot shot, and Koskinen stops it. And then he stopped another one right away. Lakeinen got a shot off, shorthanded, stopped both of them. This has become such an issue with the Oilers, that kind of shot going in, that just for him doing that alone. And then the Oilers had 8 grade A chances to 7 for the Habs, so there wasn't a lot of traffic either way. It was a pretty tight checking game in its own way. But Koskinen had lots of busy work. There was lots of kind of hard outside shots that could turn into trouble, but none of them did because he put the rebounds, or he sucked in the puck, or he gloved it, or he stopped it, or and it wasn't like there was no luck. Like, wasn't like he gave up a big rebound into the slot and it just didn't fall to a Montreal player. Generally speaking, his puck management and his game management was really strong. His puck handling was strong. And maybe the Petrie goal, you might have wanted to have that one possibly. It was a little bit iffy, but it was a 3-on-1. And the other 2 goals, I mean, Max Domi coming in on a breakaway isn't like the 2 other. Yeah. Well, the other 2 players who scored against Mike Smith were like Ty Domi, and they scored. This is a highly, highly skilled player who just an amazing player. And then the other goal, the second goal, was a total deflection. Like, it's 100% shot. Like when it hits, There's no way the goalie's going to stop that. So
Yeah, I had a real
I don't
good look
really,
at that one. He had no chance. There's no goalie
yeah,
would have stopped that.
yeah. So I just really liked Koskinen's game. He was the better goalie tonight. And I'm going to work on a post. I'm going to try to think of a statistical way, a number of different metrics to figure out in which games have the Oilers had the better goalie.
Hmm.
And I think in the majority of his games, just going on memory at this point, but I would say in the majority of his games, Mikko Koskinen's been the better goalie on the ice this year. And he was a better goalie tonight against Carey Price. And it's a big reason the Oilers won.
Yeah, well, he had his hands full with Jeff Petrie. My goodness, Petrie was outstanding in this game tonight.
Good
One
player.
goal, 1 goal, 2 assists, 7 shots on net, 3 hits, 2 block shots. He was all over the ice. Honestly, I don't remember ever seeing him have a better game in all the time he was here. He was all
He was
over the
pretty
ice.
good when he was here.
He had
I
good
really
games here.
liked.
I just don't
We were
remember having a
both
game this good.
big.
Like he was
Yeah, fair
really
enough.
good.
What's your bad thing, Bruce?
Oh, well, my bad thing is kind of how the game slipped away on the Oilers a little bit. They came out great guns and they dominated Montreal in the first period on the shot clock and in possession time and general flow of play. And they were up 2-0, almost made it 3-0. Chiasson was robbed by Carey Price, and then
I
Montreal
say,
got that shortly thereafter, and all of a sudden it's 2-1, and you can sort of feel, well, this seemed like it was going to be easy, but it isn't going to be easy, is it? And then the second period, my goodness, Montreal just poured it on. And by the time they tied the game, I think the shots on net for the period were something like 7-0 for the Habs. And Edmonton did get one on the power play. Their power play clicked at the right time because that was a period that, by flow of play, Edmonton should have lost, and yet they managed to retain their 1 goal lead. And then the last minute or hour of the second, I'm not sure what it was, the puck was in Edmonton's end, and they just could not get control of that thing and get it out of there. And Montreal kept peppering shots. Edmonton blocked 5 shots in the last minute of the second period. Only one of those shots actually made it through to Koskinen, but the pressure was hard. But Klefbom, Larson each blocked 2 shots. I can't remember which forward got the other one, but they were all chasing, and uh, um, so this is a game that didn't have really many bad things. I mean, I guess you could pick out individual plays like Nurse getting walked by Max Domi on the 3-3 or something like that, but it was just more it seemed like they took their foot off the gas a little bit, or Montreal put theirs on the gas, and Edmonton struggled to stay with them, and they again managed to hold their 1 goal lead in the second, and they did it again in the third. So they made it work.
my bad thing is Nurse's play on the Domi rush. And even though it's funny because we see Connor McDavid do this to defensemen, really good defensemen all the time. But we're not used to seeing anyone do it to Oilers defensemen, largely because hardly anyone's as good as Connor McDavid. But Max Domi on that rush, he was going fast, and he's an awfully tricky hockey player. And he made a stick fake on Nurse. Nurse bit on it, and he was around him. So that's a pretty embarrassing play for Darnell Nurse, honestly, at a key time in the game. Yeah, we're just working on our scoring chance document here as we talk. I had forgotten to put that one in there. I was so excited. Shane's goal. So, but yeah, Nurse, as they say about goalies when they get beat, like that's one that Darnell Nurse would like back, and I'm sure he's not feeling too good about it. It's just a fundamental play. You watch the player's middle of the player's body, you block the body, he's going to the net, and you don't let him around. But this will happen now and then when you have a player as skilled as Max Domi. He is a fantastic attacking hockey player.
He was flying on that play.
He really was. So it was. Nurse got a lot of hell, of course, online on Twitter, and people were all over him. But in some ways, the play on the short-handed goal, McDavid's play, giving away the puck and then biting in hard, like not getting back, being caught up ice was maybe more egregious in some ways because it's just a giveaway at the opposition blue line that turns around the other direction and pucks in the net. So anyway, that's my bad thing is Darnell Nurse's gaff Are we at numbers here?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
are.
What's your number?
Well, I got a string of numbers, and this is Carey Price's lifetime record against the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, this will be good.
It is good from an
Yeah.
Oilers fan's perspective. If you're a Montreal fan, you're not going to like this at all.
Oh,
Sorry.
let's hear it then.
Okay, 3 wins, 8 losses, one other loss, 3-8-1, so 9 wins for the Oilers out of 12 decisions. 3.70 goals against average, and a .859 save percentage. The Oilers have owned this guy his whole career, and they owned him again tonight. 4 goals on 26 shots. I mean, Price made a couple of pretty terrific saves. He got one with the knob of his stick. And he almost robbed Draisaitl on that very first goal on the 2-on-1. He got a big piece of that with his paddle, and it just went through, and just he didn't quite get enough of it. But it looked like a sure goal, and he almost stopped it. But he just doesn't have it going on against the Oilers. I remember them blowing him right out of the net here a couple times, where he started a game and got pulled, which happens to Carey Price very rarely indeed. But for whatever reason, I mean, there's no other team. I think the next team that his worst record is 889 against Vegas Golden Knights in 2 games. Like he's so far below his career norm against Edmonton than any other team. It really is a shocking statistic, and it's doubly shocking when you realize this is the Edmonton Oilers we're talking about, where every goalie named Tom, Dick, or Harry seems to have a 15-1 lifetime record with a 980 save percentage and 15 shutouts against the Oilers.
And Carey
I'm
Price,
exaggerating a bit, but
Carey Price has been such a
and
fantastic.
yeah,
I don't know.
he's the
I
best
don't know if he
goalie in the
still
league to
is, but
some.
he was for a time there. Carey Price played at a level, one of the highest levels we've ever seen of an NHL goalie ever, and when he was with Team Canada in, what was it 2014?
2014, when
Man,
they gave up 1 goal in the medal round, 3 games in the medal round.
He was fantastic. He was just, it was just such a relief to have a guy like that in that. What's his save percentage again in 12 games against the Oilers, Bruce?
.859. I mean, we're almost down in Mike Smith in 2019 territory here.
So
that's over an extended
.859. Wow.
12 games.
That's got to hurt Habs fans when they hear that .859 in 12 games. What is it again? .859?
.859. It was coming in tonight. It was .860, and it actually dropped another point tonight, because tonight he would have put up a 852 or something along those lines in tonight's game.
So it dropped to .859.
This is from a guy with a career save percentage of 918.
918.
So, yeah.
And then .859 against
Edmonton. Yeah. So it's one of those things there's no explanation for it, but the numbers are so completely off the wall. I decided to make that my number.
That may be the best number I've ever heard, Bruce. And I won't say it again because I've done that joke too many times.
I like and admire Carey Price, but I don't mind seeing any goalie on another team get lit up by the Oilers. Too bad, Carey.
Not at all.
Make up for it by beating the Flames like he did.
Is there any goalie in particular you'd like to have see with a similar? Maybe Jonathan Quick.
Mike Smith.
Mike, well, he's with the Oilers.
Yeah, no, he used to own the Oilers. Like he was like 15-1 at one
Ed
point
Belfour.
against the Oilers. Yeah, Ed Belfour.
Okay.
I think Ed Belfour had 50 wins against the Oilers between regular season and playoffs. 50.
Yeah. Okay, my number is 9 and 3. It's Riley Sheahan's face-off numbers tonight. And usually I don't focus too much on face-offs because it is, I think, an overrated aspect of the game. But it is until it isn't. And when it isn't, it is in the last minute of the game. And they sent Shannon out there last minute, 52 seconds left, to take the key face-off, and he won it. And he I don't know what his percentage is this year. Didn't look that up, but that's a key moment in the game to win that face-off. And good for him for winning it. Good for him. That was part of probably their success tonight in outshooting the Habs and outchancing the Habs when they're on the ice. So good for Riley Sheahan. Face-offs are also really important on the penalty kill. And I think he's historically been pretty good at that. And again, I don't have his numbers handy this year for either of those things, but he's he that was a huge win. Good for him.
Yeah, I'll quibble with one thing you said. They didn't send him out. He had to stay out because that was the
Ah,
time that Koskinen iced the puck, and it just went over the
so
goal line.
that's
So
that's
the refs came right to the bench and said, "All those guys that are trying to get off to the bench, you all got to come back out." So that's
so
why
that's
we
why
didn't see.
Granlund and
That's
what's
why it
his
was
name
kind of
were
an
out there.
odd combination. Yeah.
Granlund and Russell were out there. I was thinking, why is Granlund and Russell out there with Shea? And I couldn't figure that out. So that was why. Okay, there you go. All righty, Bruce. I think we're done. We just got
All
to
right.
post this
All
because the
right.
game grades are up already. Archibald got a 9, Shannon got an 8,
Wow. Wow.
and usually grinders don't get marks like that. But usually
No.
grinders don't have games like that. So
No, that's right. Usually the grinders, when they do everything right, they got about a 7. The range for me is smaller for grinders because they don't have, the big scoring output type games. But those guys did score big goals, and they really did not do anything to criticize. There was no reason to dock them any points. They
well, that's it.
dominated possession. They
Yeah.
dominated the face-off circle. Those two guys did the job on the one penalty kill. Edmonton stayed out of the box most of the game, but they that was the second penalty kill unit that gave up the goal late in the power play,
Yeah.
and they did damage at even strength. And man, what a relief it is to get some of that kind of action from down the lineup.
Yeah, the Oilers did get that for a while there. There was a stretch in early November where they were getting a goal a game from the bottom
Yeah.
line groups. They need that again. So maybe we'll get that against Vancouver on Monday night. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.